The Bostonian is Matt Perrault.
This is our city.
The Book is Dave Sharapan.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Together, they are the Bostonian versus the Book.
You covered! You covered 12! I covered!
Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
How do you like them apples?
Bringing you the best insight on sports betting news, Matt and Dave's daily picks, and an entertaining and unfiltered dive into the sports betting industry. Here's Dave Sharapan and Matt Perrault.
And here we go.
What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Thursday morning episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. He's Dave Sharapan. I am Matt Perrault, and we are not lawyers. We might sound like lawyers today, but we are not lawyers today. We got a lot to get to in the program. We're live on YouTube at Boston versus the Book, the same on Twitter, X, and replayed on Sports Grid TV and Sirius XM channel 159. Dave, we joke around and say we're not lawyers, so we had to go get a lawyer today. We got a real one coming on. Andrew Kim's going to join us from Washington, D.C. This guy has argued cases in front of the Supreme Court. We got a real lawyer today. How are you on this Thursday?
And after that, we got JY, which is a perfect example of the show. We can't tell you what it is. And there's days we don't even know what it's going to be, but we know we'll be here. And I'm wearing the Ish shirt right here that Lewis made for us, because we're trying to start right at time, and then we got to figure things out.
Yeah.
Prepping for the show today was like reading a legal brief, just because I want to make sure we ask him the right questions, and let Andrew talk, and then we'll ask JY different types of questions about the NBA playoffs. And
big news today. Big news this morning. This just broke.
What was that?
Dame's playing. Dame's back.
Yeah.
Changes that whole series. Damian Lillard cleared to play.
You would think so.
Huge.
But Milwaukee's been playing pretty good without him. So.
I know, but you get a killer back.
Yeah. Oh, it only helps. Which, if they beat the Pacers, then Cleveland's going to have their hands full, with Dame time. But yeah, so we'll be here next hour and 30 minutes. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Today and tomorrow, and then off for 2 weeks. Hopefully back after that. Well, we should be fine, but we'll see.
We're coming back May 5th. What are you talking about?
Okay. All right. We'll see. If you have any questions, specifically intelligent questions, not like things that like for Andrew,
right?
Please put them in the chat, because this is becoming very real. There's a lot of people that are asking a lot of questions about how all of this is going. And
I mean, I got a phone call from New Hampshire yesterday from someone who wanted to talk about this, who I had no clue had any interest in any of this.
Yeah.
And had a long conversation about all the things and the wrinkles and the twists and the turns. People are starting to pay attention to this, and they're going, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Because even if you're not involved in gambling or sports betting or what, it is one of those stories that, like, it feels like something illegal is going on, but it's not. And so it's like, I don't understand how this is being allowed, and all these different pieces. You got government people who are leaving to go work for Kalshi, and Kalshi people who are leaving to go work for the government. And they're the ones determining whether or not they can do this. And either they're claiming what is like, we're back to like the whole thing with Bill Clinton. Like, it's not gaming, but it is gaming, but it's not gaming. It is gaming, but it's not gaming. Like, it's just very confusing.
Yeah, it's very confusing, but it's also very clear to people sometimes within the industry of what it is, but they're not saying for what it is. And then you got to go, okay, well, if you say it's this, then what? And if you say it's this, then what not? Like, it's caution.
The whole thing is wild. Like, the whole thing is, and it's why Andrew has written extensively on this. He's written in New York on this. He's the one on the left. Or I guess you're left. the legality of prediction markets will be tested. And, he has written things that Kalshi has pushed and said, look. And he has written things that people on the other side have said, look. So I thought Andrew was a great person for us to bring on to have this conversation because, he has been daily on LinkedIn. He's been writing this stuff and on Twitter as well, been writing about where this case is going. And Daniel Wallach has been another one. He wrote a long post today about what the legal fight might be over. And like yesterday, we talked about the Wire Act. That's going to be of 1961 when you can't transmit legal or sports betting information across state lines, making it illegal to do that. Now, that was put into place to stop the mob in Chicago from talking to Vegas. Like that's why that law
allegedly,
that's why that law went into place.
Yeah.
And that's still on the books. They haven't repealed that. So that could come into play, but it sounds like there's more than just the Wire Act that might be in play here. So Andrew's going to join us in about 15 minutes. So stay tuned for that conversation. If you are of the age of Dave and I, today makes you feel a little old because Lee Corso is walking away. Made the announcement after 38 seasons on College Game Day. He will make one more appearance on August the 30th, week 1 of the season. He will turn 90 years old in August. And he's been a part of the show since it debuted in 1987. Like, that's a hell of a career.
Awesome.
Lee Corso.
Awesome. Been a big part of Saturdays for a long, long time. And there's been a lot of questions the last few years, may have lost a fastball and this and that. And you see the way, Herb Street, has kind of formed a relationship with him. I feel like a lot of the United States has formed a relationship with him that way. So it's really, really good to see him getting the send-off because you always wonder how these things end. Like, you see it. There was, watching him on that set freezing.
Yeah.
The last year, the year before, like just going, why?
And struggling. I mean, in a lot of ways, struggling.
Yeah.
So I think they wanted to give him the right time. I mean, 90 is a hell of a run. I hope I'm working at 90. I mean, my God, that's amazing. And it was wild to watch, Chris Fowler today on social, Kirk Herbstreit today on social, just looking at the camera and just thanking him, Corso, for all of the memories on air and off air, all the moments they spent together talking college football and just how important, in our lifetime, Dick Vitale elevated college basketball and Lee Corso elevated college football.
Yeah.
And they both did it in their own way. They both did it in unique ways. Dick Vitale, which is his overabundance of usage of energy and words and diaper dandy and everything else that he came up with from talking about college basketball. And then Corso with the headgear, which I mean, when I worked in Alabama, I didn't get it at Virginia all that much because College Game Day didn't show up. When I was at Bama, College Game Day showed up at least 2 or 3 times a season, and everyone on campus wanted to know, what did Corso put on? What headgear did he put on?
Yep.
And then I had people starting, as I got deeper into the betting world, people started to pick bets on it. And people used to track it. And they would track whether Corso took it, did the team cover when Corso took it? I mean, that's amazing. Chevy, I know people think that I say that to people all the time, and they go, I want to be done and retired. I am so blessed to do this job. Like, I am so thankful every day that I get to do this show and I get to do content in general that I don't feel like I go to work. And people often come to me and say, like, you could make a lot more money doing X, Y, and Z. And then I'll go and look at it and I'll be like, and in my heart of hearts, I know I will hate myself. I will hate my life. I can't just go and do anything. And even retirement, like, what am I going to do? Go play golf every day? Why? I'm going to be arguing with people.
I don't think you're going to do that after your last experience. I don't think you're doing that.
Right. I just want to be alive every day. Amen, Jimmy Football. I just want to be alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do we know which headgear he wore the most? I think it's Brutus, right? Brutus.
Ooh, I don't know.
Buckeye?
That's a good question.
I thought they said it last year as to which headgear he wore the most. It's either that or the duck. It's one of the two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's either the Duck for Oregon or it's Ohio State that he put on the most. And third might be Notre Dame, something to do with, or maybe even Alabama. Maybe it's Big Al's head. But the Buckeye was the first one he put on, was the Buckeye.
Right.
So okay, I was right.
Brutus. It is Brutus, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the Buckeye.
Is that where the last week's going to be? That August?
It should be
right in Columbus.
Who's Ohio State playing week 1? Do we know?
I don't know. I'll
So
take a look.
I don't know if it really matters to me as to who he's, but that's who Corso. They should go there. It would be great, and it would be home. In the backyard for Kirk Herbstreit. You know what's so really special about their relationship though is, like, you can see the genuine love and the character of Kirk Herbstreit. I think over the last couple of years, about how he protected Corso, and he was like there to help him whenever something happened on set that maybe he wasn't up to speed with, or something went over his head. He was right. He was right there to make sure, like, hey, this is what's going on. Ohio State hosts Texas week. Okay,
thank you, John.
There we go. They're going there. Okay, done deal. They're going to Ohio State.
That'll be it.
Yeah, that's awesome. 45 times Brutus, 38 times Alabama.
Wow.
Interesting. I thought Oregon was higher up than that.
45 LSU, 22 Florida, 31 or 21 Puddles / Oregon. Huh. You watch it. We watched it in the book. We had it on every single week. No matter what book I worked at, no matter where it was on. So I saw it every Saturday at work. And then if the shift changed, I would watch it. We do the shows Monday through Friday, sometimes do a show on Saturday or whatever, Saturday morning, just the rhythm of the season. You wake up, you watch game day. And it was one of those things that we had to see. So, oh, wow, Matt clicked a different button there and excommunicated himself off the show.
That was me. Sorry.
Yeah.
I hit the wrong button.
I saw that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
that was me. I literally just hit the mouse and it closed everything. Sorry on that. But yeah, the cadence of it, you're right. And I think it becomes part of your routine to get up and watch game day. In the Northeast, these are the things that I feel very lucky, because in New England, college game day is just like, what the hell is this? Why does anybody care about college game day?
Right.
I go to the South. I go to Virginia. I learn a bit more about college football. Okay, this is kind of fun. Oh, Saturday mornings. Oh yeah, ESPN does this show, College Game Day. I know it's on, but I just watched it because it was this guy's talking. Like, what else was I going to watch Saturday morning? Like, oh no, it's really a big deal. People care when it shows up. It's like, okay, it's just a TV show. Went to Tuscaloosa, and on the quad, when game day would show up, the crackle on campus was so fun. It was such a big deal when it showed up. When College Game Day, you'd wait and wonder every Monday, where are they going? Where are they going next? Where's the next stop? And then they would go to the big game and they would announce it. And if it's going to the game that I was going to be at, it was so cool. Like it's hard to describe to anybody who grew up where I grew up if you don't understand college football. Now, you grew up in college football hotbed, obviously in the Big Ten in Western PA. So you guys understood it. In Boston, we have no care at all for college football. It's just a speed bump to get to Sunday to watch professional sports. And I like college football so much more than the NFL. I like college basketball so much more than the NBA. Even with the rule changes, even with the nonsense going on right now, I still like it more.
Yep.
And this, Corso is an institution, and I felt very old today. I was like, damn, I've been watching this show for a long time.
If you guys are in the chat and you've been at a college football game with game day in there, put it in there where you were. Because I just see Licata said, I remember game day's only appearance at Mizzou in 2010. That's crazy. I remember going to Penn State, Ohio State in Columbus and then being there.
Right.
And my brother and I planning to be parked in there early just to see it. It was pouring rain. We got soaked. We stood outside in the rain. And I was like, what are we doing? And then when Penn State went and lost the game, but we had to go see it. We had to be a part of it. And it happened multiple times at Penn State, which was fun. I didn't go last year. We that was one I feel like we should have been at.
Yeah. Forest State and
when they were
Tallahassee versus Miami. It's a
About
good
that.
one. Ann Arbor.
By the way, all prayers and out to Florida State and what's going
Yeah.
on there today. I didn't even know how to say anything. I saw that when I was getting ready for the show, and I was like, there's nothing we can say that's going to make that any better. Just terrible situation there.
Just
live shooter on campus or
Yeah.
something, and it's all I know, and that's all I wanted to see.
At least 6 people have been hurt. Suspect is in custody though, so
okay,
that's at least
okay, good,
positive news. But it's a horrible day on campus for sure. I mean, look, we went through it live on the air together at the school that I work at.
Oh yeah, Kelsey was down there. That's right. Yeah, that's right.
No. Yeah, it is cool. There's nothing like a live SEC game. I agree, Kyle. But I mean, well, that's cool. Miami for Hard Rock ACC games. But even it's. Well, I think what game day did for a lot of people who aren't familiar with college sports or college football is it gave people a look into the rivalry. It gave people a look into, Tom Rinaldi is now not with ESPN. He's at Fox, but like people would watch the Tom Rinaldi story and he would just make you cry. Like he would show you the player on the team whose family had a sick person, mom, dad, whatever, the sacrifices they made. Like it ripped your heart out. Like it was just like, oh my gosh. But it painted the picture as to what college football and what college sports means. And we joke around about the SEC saying it just means more. But I think college football in general, it just means more to a lot of these families around the country where their kid's never going to be a professional athlete. He's never going to go to play pro football, but he plays at whatever university, Penn State, Pitt, West Virginia, in the Midwest, go play at Ohio University, or to go and play at South Alabama, or go play at, Texas State, whatever it might be. But like they're going through so much, and game day was, I don't know, it's like the ambassador for college football in a lot of ways. It tells people around the country about what makes this sport so special. So, Corso being a major part of that. The show's changed. I mean, I know people have a big issue with Pat. I love McAfee on the show. I think he has added so much charisma and entertainment, and him and Saban are such an awesome yin and yang to each other because Nick is so like straight-laced and so like stoic.
And he's even loosening up.
And Pat is jumping up on the stage, and Pat is,
Pat's
doing Pat things.
There's no other one. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pat's doing Pat McAfee things. That show really is in a very good place. So it's not like Corso leaving this gigantic gap and you're like, oh man, game day. It will be different. And I don't think anybody will do the headgear, but I do think it's
or should they, right?
Yeah, they shouldn't. I agree. They shouldn't do it. Leave the headgear alone.
Yeah.
But the show's in a good place, is what I'm saying. Like, it's not like, I don't think the show is going to go down without Corso or without that moment because headgear really was, but we've watched it last couple of years where Corso's missed a lot of games for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
And there's been no headgear done.
I feel like it brings college football to you wherever you're at. And it gives you the real feeling of wherever they're at, they dive into and really own it. And it brings a piece of something to you that you can't get unless you've been there or been a part of that. So
yeah, you got to be.
Yeah, that's a hell of a run. That's a hell of a run.
90. He turns 90 in August. So congratulations to
38 years. He started when he was 52 then.
Okay.
So there's hope. I'm 54.
There we go. Yeah.
Get a Corso job like that. Ride it out. I'll hand the baton back 30 years. I don't need from 54 to 55 to 85. I'm good. Peace out. Good. Thanks.
You know what? That's a good point, Sonic. The fact that Jimmy Johnson's retiring. Like it is interesting that this is TV is going to look different this fall.
Yeah.
A lot of new faces will be on the sets. Yeah. It is sort of the end of an era for television covering football with Jimmy Johnson and now Lee Corso both retiring. That's different. So, all right. Put your legal hat on, guys. We talked about this yesterday. All right. This post from Tariq Mansour in which he said prediction markets are the future of news, including sports news. He's trying to claim that people who have, quote, positions on things are more inclined to watch things like the Masters, which this feels like 2018 all over again when we're talking about, that people actually watch sports more when they have money on the sport. It's like, wow, didn't know that. Like, thanks, Tariq. I didn't know that was actually the situation. Like, we're going back in time. You're telling me something I didn't already know.
Yep.
So we go from that to the Cauchy conversation of legality as to whether or not this is legal or not. We've talked a lot about this and we've joked around that we're not lawyers. Well, let's go get a lawyer. Andrew Kim is a lawyer, is an appellant litigator in Washington, D.C. He has argued cases in front of the Supreme Court, and he's written extensively on the Cauchy situation and where we are with this case. Andrew, Matt, and Dave, thank you for coming on. Welcome to BVB.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Listen, it's great to meet you and have you on the show because a lot of people like to talk about the law. A lot of people think they, read it and know the law. This is a really interesting time. I got to ask you first and foremost, is there a definitive answer as to what is gambling or not gambling right now?
Great question. The answer is no. I think just given the state of play with the market right now, with everything that's going on, basically, I would say this is like the legal equivalent of Cauchy coming in, knocking over the Jenga tower and trying to build it its way, right? Like rebuild the blocks so that it's trying to reshape the market using the law to try to reshape the market. And the question, the $64 billion question, so to speak, is what's the line between event contracts, especially sports-related event contracts, and gambling? And the answer to that is that's not clear. We know what gambling is. The question is, if it's a sports-related event contract, is it no longer gambling? That's the billion-dollar question here.
Can you, and this is really simplistic, but I feel like there's people who are going to watch this, who are tuning in, and people in our audience who have talked about this as like, guys, I'm so confused. Why can Cauchy claim an event contract is not gambling? How are they able to claim that they can offer markets for Major League Baseball, which they are doing so today, single game Major League Baseball? How can they claim that that is not gambling?
Well, they've got a couple of arguments up their sleeve. One, they are a designated contract marketplace, right? They are a designated market for these kinds of event contracts. They've been approved by the Commodity Future Trading Commission with respect to these types of contracts. They are a legit exchange of contracts. Now, it's a very fine line here because their position is that this is an event contract that involves gaming. So while it may look like a sports wager, it may look like a sports bet, at the end of the day, these are derivatives. These are instruments that are intended to hedge against risk. Basically, they say it serves a couple purposes. One, sort of broadly speaking, these event contracts are meant to protect against risk. Two, they're supposed to help have a predictive value. You see that talked about a lot, saying, oh, these contracts can be used to like figure out, what's going to happen with respect to a particular event. And three, this is the argument that Cauchy's been putting out there in court, is, these are, again, back to the hedging point, these are opportunities to hedge against particular eventualities, particular things happening, events that have economic consequence. And that's kind of where I personally struggle as a lawyer, because their argument is, look, these aren't sports bets. These are opportunities to protect yourself against risk that comes up, if something happens a certain way. I get that. But they're saying you draw the line at events that with economic consequences. Like, what does that mean? Like, and why does a single season, like, a single game in the NBA season have economic consequences? Like, it's baffling to me.
It's baffling to a lot of people, myself included, because I've spent most of my adult life, about 30 years, in this business. Started offshore in the Caribbean in the late 90s. Spent almost 2 decades in the business here in Las Vegas. Andrew, this sounds like a sports book to me. This sounds like exactly what we did every day as the house. We had positions. Other bettors would take other sides of positions and hedge those guys' bets and all this. This is not a sports book, though?
Well, I think Cauchy would say it isn't, right? And other prediction market operators would say they're not, because one thing that they like to point out is they don't make money if it's a losing position. At the end of the day, they're a marketplace, they're a facilitator of these trades, and they make money based on the contract trades, not with respect to a particular outcome. So they don't care who wins or loses. And to that, I think this is a point that has gone sort of unrecognized. There's peer-to-peer wagering. Like there's peer-to-peer betting out there. That's covered by gaming and gambling laws. Also, like they've apparently never heard of a VIG. Like it's not, so it's not so clear cut. I'm not necessarily saying Kalshi's wrong here.
Okay.
But like they're trying to simplify everything. I think they're trying to simplify everything by saying we are not an against the house sports book. And like, I think the bigger picture here is like, there's more to gaming and gambling law than just that. And so I think, they have great lawyers. I know a couple of them. They've got great lawyers. They've got great arguments, but this is not a done deal on either side for that matter.
Okay, great. That's where I want to pick up on, because Andrew, you've been writing a lot on LinkedIn about this, and I have seen the Kalshi folks pick up your post and retweet it to their people when you've written something that might be in their mind showing that their case is legitimate or they're going to win their case. What is your read about the Nevada and other states that have issued cease and desist orders to Kalshi to say, stop working, stop taking bets, let's call it that, taking bets in the states that you were doing so. And yet the Nevada court decided to say, hold on a second, we need more time to look at this. But in the meantime, you guys can keep operating in the state of Nevada. Where are we with that court case? And what is the domino effect that will happen once that court case gets settled?
You're trying to bait me into making a prediction about prediction markets. This is dangerous. So let's sort of start from the big picture here, right? Like what's at issue here? Kalshi offers and other operators offer a bunch of different contracts. This case is only about, there are two cases, one in Nevada and one in New Jersey. There may be others, who knows? Ohio's recently said they're expecting one. These are lawsuits against the gaming regulators saying, asking a federal court to tell the gaming regulators, do not enforce your gaming laws against Kalshi, because Kalshi's argument is that, federal law about contract marketplaces, about designated contract markets and event contracts, like that supersedes, that overrides, that's, just lumps over whatever state gaming law has to say. I think a couple of things. So we're only talking about sports and to a lesser extent election related contracts. And there's this whole other case out there in the DC circuit. I'm not going to talk about that. Okay. But if you're talking about where things are in Nevada, Kalshi has scored a preliminary win, what's called a preliminary injunction, that basically keeps the status quo and it prevents Nevada from going after Kalshi over violations of what Nevada says is state gaming laws, while the injunction's in effect, but while the case is going on. And so the judge basically said, look, this is very complicated, and I need some time to figure stuff out. Like, give me some time to do that. And so he's put everything on hold. I suspect what's going on behind the scenes, and this is the part where I'm engaging in some speculation, much like most of the degenerates watching right now. But I'm kidding. I'm sure you have great viewers. I think the question here is, like, can they settle? Because I think that's what the judge wants right now. The judge wants them to settle this out of court, but I don't think the gaming regulators can, because they've got everything on the line. Because if you suddenly say, sure, there's a world in which sports books and prediction marketplaces, sports prediction places can coexist. Like, if you're a sports book and you've got to deal with all these state gaming laws, like, why? Like, if Kalshi's out there saying that they're a 50-state betting platform, and I think I've even seen advertisements saying bets, although I'm not 100% sure about that.
Yes. Oh, I have pictures, Andrew. I have pictures on the Las Vegas Strip of the word bet.
Oh, I'm a lawyer. What do you expect me to do? Say something with a definite certainty? Come on, guys. But but there's some truth to that, because there are a lot more roadblocks being a sports book, because you're coming at this at an age where, like, all these gaming laws are written to, like, prevent the mob from coming in. So you've got 100,000 different things you need to do in order to operate as a sports book. Whereas if you can just go be a sports prediction marketplace, why not go do that? right? Like, why
Yeah.
not go offer a 50-state solution, go and do that? So if I'm a state and I give an inch, they're not going to take a mile. They're going to take the entire planet at that
The
point.
business. They're going to take it all.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. All right. So it's getting murkier. It's getting more like who's coming at it from what direction, this and that. And then over the top, I feel like yesterday, the Wire Act comes back into play. 1961, the Wire Act starts being discussed as part of these arguments. How does this affect what's going on, Andrew? Because this feels like the same argument, but different.
Right. And for those of your viewers who aren't paying attention to the finer details of the Wire Act, it basically says a bet or wager can't cross state lines, right?
Yeah.
And that's legit bets and wagers and illegit bets and wagers. The thing about the Wire Act is when you've got a conflict between two different federal, judges hate conflict. Like they try to sort everything out as cleanly as possible. So if you can read a law in a way that doesn't cause a problem, then you read it that way. And I think you can read, if a judge just says, if it's an event contract, it's not a bet or wager, the Wire Act concern, poof, goes away.
Okay.
So I think that's the issue here. And this is why I'm frustrated with the discourse that we're having right now in terms of the legal community, because you've got prediction market operators like Kalshi on one side screaming, why are you going after us? We're not gambling. How can you think of us as gambling? We're a federally regulated marketplace. And, you've got sports gaming regulators out there saying you're clearly gambling dressed up as a contract. And they're kind of yelling at each other like two guys at a blackjack table arguing whether you should hit or stand on a 16 against the face. Like, it's not productive.
16
always hit. Yes, this is true. But the conversation isn't going anywhere if all they're doing is just screaming their positions, and they really need to engage. So in terms of the Wire Act, the reason why I don't think it's a slam dunk, and look, I might be in the minority here just because, you've got the head of the American Gaming Association saying, gee, I think there might be some Wire Act problems here. So clearly it's gaining some traction. But the thing is, the question isn't, do you read the Wire Act to cover these event contracts? The question is, do you have to? And I think the answer to that is no. If you can just say event contracts are not bets or wagers.
Okay,
right?
So this is what was put out today by Daniel Wallach saying the Wire Act doesn't actually need to apply here because Rule 40-.11 does. References to terrorism, assassinations, war, gaming, or an activity that is unlawful under state or federal law. Wouldn't this be unlawful under state and federal law? And Kalshi has already said that they are gaming, that they are just a different version of gaming that does not get dictated by state law. So does this, in the rule of the CFTC, does this now just supersede everything and we don't need to worry about the Wire Act because this has already been made to be illegal and the judge or Nevada could use that as their place?
Kalshi's lawyer in the DC Circuit case where Dan is quoting from is currently, he's probably going to be the head of all civil appeals for the U.S. Department of Justice. You do not hire lawyers like that and not have arguments already prepared. Kalshi's response to that, I think, probably would be what that means, that not authorized by federal or state law. What that means is that the underlying activity, I think they actually said this in one of their briefs, the underlying activity is illegal. So you can't bet on a riot happening. Nomenclature problem. Sorry. You can't engage in trading. You can't engage in trading an event contract about an event that is illegal. So you can't have an arson event contract of is there likely to be arson here or not? And I think that is Kalshi's reading of the law. I'm not saying it's necessarily a right reading of the law, but I'm just saying they've got answers to a lot of questions. And I think they've got an answer to Dan's question here about, haven't you already said this is gambling and it's therefore illegal?
It's fascinating to watch and hear it be talked about so much and not be working in a book. Right now, I'm not working in a book, but I have a lot of dear friends that are, and they were sponsors of this show and different things, are looking at it and going, we did everything they wanted us to do. We went through the lawyers. We got the licenses. We opened up. We played by the rules. What do you say to those guys, Andrew? Like my guys at Sport Trade, my guys at Prime Sportsbook, here in Vegas at Circa, all these different places. Everybody's has dedicated their life or career to this business and being in a book and following a procedure after pass for pass and saw opportunity and went through the right channels, woke up this election year, and as Kalshi said, we're doing it this way. And then Kalshi said, wow, we did it, and everybody let us do it. We're going to do the Super Bowl. And now we're doing everything. What do you say to the people that followed the procedure?
I think, unfortunately, it's probably the smaller books that are going to suffer from this if Kalshi sort of wins out at the end of the day and is allowed to trade these sports-related event contracts. The bigger books, I think, especially like if you're talking about like the FanDuels and the DraftKings of the world, they're keeping an eye out on what's happening, and they're thinking maybe we jump in that pool or at least keep our options open, right? Yeah. And so I think the smaller operators who've already had a tough time breaking into this market, right? Like already had a tough time, went through every single thing. All their folks got fingerprinted, background checked, and had to go through the licensing requirements. Like those books, I think I think there's no question that if Kalshi sort of gets its way in terms of a sports contract marketplace out there that's sort of loosely regulated under the CFTC's core principles, I think sports prediction markets generally are going to eat into the business of sports.
Yes,
period. Like there's no question about it. And I think the opportunity for who knows how much of that will be captured by current operators like that decide to go over there, because look, DraftKings and FanDuel, they've got a deep customer base, and all of a sudden like they can just sell folks on doing a prediction market. So maybe we'll see that. But the smaller books, and I think the legacy books, those with brick and mortar interests, those are tied to casinos, I think they're going to have a tougher time, because how do you suddenly go out of the traditional book that you've been maintaining and piss off your regulator and go open a contract market? Like if you're a brick and mortar casino, that's a very tough thing to do. So I think those are the two losers here. Is one, smaller books that already have had a tough time getting through the barriers to entry in this marketplace because of all the different requirements out there. They did it right, and they've lost out because it's just cheaper and easier to start up a designated contract market. And I also think that the legacy operators are going to have a tougher time trying to pivot here versus a well-established, mostly mobile sportsbook operator.
Andrew, I want to go back to Vegas for just 1 second in Nevada, because some people's readings of how things are going in the court case for Nevada against Kalshi was that Nevada was caught flat-footed, that they're not normally outgunned when it comes to a legal gaming hearing, and they will have other things to bring like damages. And if they look at this event contract that now Kalshi, as of today, has accepted over $172,000 in baseball event contracts just for one day, does damages come into play here? If I'm the judge and I'm looking at the state of Nevada and doing what you're talking about, states, this state is run by the gaming industry. If big brick and mortar books can't pivot and they're going to have their bottom line damaged, does that come into play when it comes to the court case and the decision by the judge?
Probably not directly. I think something that the judge will consider is, maybe if in the back of his mind, if not explicitly, is like there is a whole ecosystem that's built around this licensing regime, right, for sports books. So like, I think the impact, like Nevada is certainly going to get hurt. Sports books that are certainly going to get hurt in terms of revenue. I think figuring out the numbers on that is going to be tricky, just because it's not really one for one, because who knows what the conversion rate there between sports books and prediction markets are. But at the end of the day, I think the judge will consider the harm here. But the way this case was brought, there's no opportunity for damages or recovering costs as part of this particular case, at least as near as I can tell. Is there a potential lawsuit by commercial competitors? I don't know. Someone needs to pay us to think about that kind of thing. But I will say, I'll leave. I'm not leaving you, but I did want to add this one thought. The elephant in the room are the tribes, right? Because I think they're watching all this and they're not happy about what they consider to be an intrusion into their sovereignty. And if you're a Class 3 gaming operator, a tribe with a Class 3 compact, you're thinking like, especially if you're maybe a statewide operator like a certain tribe in Florida, I'm looking at this thinking like, this is going to eat into my revenue. And the tribe actually has the tribes have weapons that even the states don't, which is that they've got the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, which I think actually uses the word gaming, and it says on all things gaming, the tribes have jurisdiction. Like, you have to get the tribes involved as to their territory. So that gets tricky. And that I think is going to be the interesting thing to watch, is what do the tribes do and how much of a mess can they make here. Right now, I think they're still trying to play nice with the CFTC and say, CFTC, don't go into this market. Right. Like, don't open up this whole can of worms. Just like leave things be and leave things as they are. We'll see if they have any success there.
Last one for me, sir. And thank you again for joining us. This has been awesome. And hopefully we'll be able to do it again. I was going to ask you for a prediction on the prediction markets of where we'll be come football season, but I know better to ask you that. I'm not going to ask you that. I'm going to ask you this. Prediction markets are straight bets. Like, a yes, no, this, that, whatever. This business is being built on the back of a parlay and a same game parlay. Is there any chance that we're going to see Kalshi go, yeah, you know what? We got prediction markets, and we got prediction markets with parlays too. I don't think that's going to happen right away myself, but what do you think?
All I will say is we don't know what the rules are yet. If prediction markets are allowed to offer sports contracts, we don't know what the CFTC has in mind for rules. All I will also say is Google Kalshi parlay and just take a crack at that. And I think the obstacle will be more of a business challenge more than a legal one. Okay. Because at the end of the day, I think getting liquidity for these parlay contracts, if you will want to call them that, I think that might be a tricky thing for an operator to navigate.
Andrew, we'll end it with this. How long are we talking before this comes to a resolution? Years?
I think it depends on how aggressive Kalshi wants to be and how and it's interesting that it's just Kalshi, right? Because, Robinhood, Crypto.com, they haven't rushed into court, mostly because I think, and this is just my suspicion here, they've got other things at play. They've got money transmission licenses. They've got the crypto side of their operations. They've got more at stake, and they can't really afford to tick off the states. So I think it depends on how aggressive Kalshi decides to be. Let's see if they go to Ohio. Let's see if they go to Illinois and Maryland. Because if they do that, and if they're as aggressive as they were in Nevada and in New Jersey, it's possible this thing could be up at the Supreme Court in a year, depending on how it's played. I think it really depends on how aggressive they want to be and how quickly judges decide things. But if they really want to go full throttle, put a pedal to the metal, we could be an appeal. I think a year is maybe too aggressive. A year and a half, you could be seeing cert petitions, or you could be seeing emergency motions on the shadow docket, as we called it, at the Supreme Court. It depends on them. They're in the driver's seat.
Unbelievable. Andrew, thank you for the information. Thank you for the conversation. Sir. This was amazing. We look forward to do it again soon down the line, all right?
Absolutely. This was fun, guys. Take care.
Andrew Kim joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Great to get him on the program, and we pivot to one Mr. Coach Young, who looks very comfortable.
Whoa.
Look at you. You're comfortable today. How are you, sir?
Hey, it's playoff time. It's playoff time. Good to be on with you guys. BBB in the building. Shout out to the BBB Mafia, BBB Clan, BBB, whatever you call it.
Brigade.
What's up? The Brigade. That's what I was going to get it right. BBB Brigade. Hey, it's Lent. All right, let's see how much I curse today. I'm going to try and keep it down.
You're all good. Whatever you want to say.
It's all good. Are you a lawyer at all? Did you ever consider being a lawyer after all that?
No. I just want to talk hoops, place bets, and have fun. That's all I really want to do. So,
did you watch either game yesterday?
I did. I watched the Heat culture. I watched them both actually. I watched the Heat culture and just the beat down that they gave Chicago. And I think honestly, I did not. I think a lot of people got sucked into how Chicago played down the stretch as a team trying to get in. And I was just sitting there saying, one game situation, Spoelstra, Billy Donovan. I know no Jimmy Butler, but I still liked Miami. Now, did I think Miami was going to do what they did? Absolutely not. But, Chicago bottom 10 in offensive defensive rating. We shouldn't have been like too shocked. I did like how Chicago competed and tried to make a game of it. And then obviously Sacramento. I mean, we're going to talk about all these teams that were disappointments this year, right? Philadelphia, obviously, we're going and so forth. You have to put Sacramento up there. This is a team that I thought was good enough to win the Pacific Division.
You were all about lighting the beat.
All of it like to beat.
Oh.
And then I turned south as soon as they fired Mike Brown.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Mhm.
I also did not like. I am not the biggest DeMar DeRozan guy. Like the guy is 27th in the NBA in scoring in his career, and he's done nothing of significance, in my opinion. He's a stat guy. And then they get Levine, and you're like, okay, but then they trade De'Aaron Fox. Malik Monk gets hurt. I mean, and then they turn around, and their GM literally got let go. Like, I don't even know if they even had I don't even know if the coach is done with his press conference yet, Doug Christie, and they let the guy go. Yeah. So, troubled times in Sacramento. I think you're going to have to watch now as does Sabonis get moved, because as great as he is, he gives you so much offensively, but he's such a terrible defender.
Hold on. So forget about the teams that lost. I'm worried about the teams that won. They both play tomorrow. They're both dogs. Do you give either team a chance to win on the road? That was ultimately the end of my question, but I didn't get to it because we've been talking so much. Heat at Miami, 1.5. Dallas, 6.5, 7 at Memphis. You think one of them can win? Both? Neither? What do you think?
I think Miami's definitely going to win.
Oh.
I can't go. Did you see how? Okay, here we go. See how fucking shitty that defense was for Atlanta? Like they played no defense.
Terrible.
I mean, here's the thing: they lost by 25, and Banchero and Wagner were awful.
Didn't have
awful.
Nothing,
If those two played, they would have won by 40. So there's that.
Okay.
Plus, I believe in the Heat. I think Tyler Hero, his game is ascending to another level.
Really?
I think obviously Davion Mitchell's giving him something defensively. Look at him to guard Trae Young a little bit. Davion Mitchell, one of the better defensive guards in the league. And I just look at, the Heat culture. Like, and it's going to set up an interesting play, because if Miami's not going to beat Cleveland. Okay, let me just make sure I say this. But Miami could steal a couple of games from Cleveland. Like, if they come out with this thing over-under, like, if they say over-under 5.5 games, I'm taking over. Miami's going to find a way to steal 2 of them, at least.
I would agree. I want to go back to last night for a second, because our guy Raheem Palmer put this out. Should we kill the 9-10 game? Because while the 7-8 game wasn't outstanding, obviously the Warrior game was against the Grizzlies. First game wasn't that good. But do we need the play-in tournament? This was like a COVID thing. Do we need that game, those 2 games last night?
I mean, you could argue no, you don't need it, but in the NBA, they want to give more teams a chance to make the playoffs. So to me, it has nothing to do with quality of play. It has to do with games. And more games means more money, which means more that you could sell. I mean, granted, both games sucked last night. And by the way, really quick, Dallas they're very intriguing. I think they're in play.
Cool.
And I'm going to say this. Their defensive front line of the combination of Washington, Gafford, Lively, AD, good luck if you're John meeting them at the rim. Because they got 4 guys that can block shots. Now, I think Memphis is imploding. Imploded. Whether it's now or after the season, it's all going to go down. I mean, you fired a coach with about 2 weeks left to go. You got Jonathan understand if he wants to shoot guns or throw bombs, or grenades. Sorry,
same difference.
Grenades.
Whatever.
Grenades,
same difference.
Same difference. You got Desmond Bane starting fights in the huddle. Like, they're guys. they're a hot mess. And we keep talking about all these teams that are going to break up in the offseason. I'm going to say this right now. Whether they win or not, they're breaking that team up. Someone's getting moved. Between Triple J, Bane, and Ja, someone's got to get moved because you just can't keep repeating the process over and over. And the one that probably gets moved is Ja, because someone's going to take a chance that they can get the right people, honestly, that's like a Miami move. Go someone like Ja, bring him into that heat culture, get him around Riley, get him around, Alonzo Mourning, get him around these guys that have been through the wars and hope that they can change him and make him a better person.
Not bad.
But what about, I mean, is this the ultimate Nico Harrison revenge tour, be the evil villain of the entire NBA if Dallas goes on a run here and they push OKC?
I mean, listen, I don't think they're going to push OKC. But I would say this. If Kyrie was healthy, I actually think defensively they would have been really, really tough to stop, like to score on. Because I think they have enough guys defensively, right, throughout the perimeter and the inside to guard people. Their problem is they got to score, right? That could be the issue tomorrow. It's can they score enough? But sometimes Clay gets in these modes like last night where he don't miss. And if he gives you a hot quarter or a hot half, they got enough defensively that if they play with the lead, they bleed the clock, they play good defense, they protect the rim, and AD is capable of at any point to go. Think about this. Like AD versus Zach Edey. I don't know if I like that matchup too much if I am Memphis. And what are they going to do? Put Jaren Jackson Jr., one of the best defenders in the world who can't get 7 rebounds in a freaking game? He's going to go guard AD? Dallas is going to be in play tomorrow, guys.
Oh, boy. All right, let's do this. Let's start in the East, and then we'll work our way out West. All right? East. You're a big Knicks guy. Everybody knows it. They see you on Sports Grid. We all know it. You make that shot at the end of your segments, all this other stuff. You got betting above the rim. All these things. The Knicks are gigantic favorites. Gigantic favorites against the Pistons. Pat doesn't understand it. People in the chat don't understand it. Are the Knicks going to dispose of the Pistons in 5 games? Because the way the series price is priced out, it's win both at home, split in Detroit, and win game 5. It's done.
Over 5.5 games. This is going 6 or 7. This is going 6 or 7.
Are you worried as a Knicks guy?
Absolutely, I'm worried.
Okay.
Kate, listen, people don't understand how good fucking Kate is, right?
Yeah.
And he's been injured. He's been in Detroit. The reason why I think the Knicks win the series is, number one, I think the critical piece for New York, to me, is Bridges and Anunoby. When Brunson went out, their offense actually got a little bit better. More guys touch the ball, harder to defend. You can't load up. If they stick those 2 in the corner and say make threes, a Detroit Pistons team with guys like Beasley are going to give the Knicks more fits. It's going to come down to if Tips going to come out of his Tips bullshit in the 4th quarter, and are they going to actually play team ball? Because here's why. Simply put, I'm going to say it. I said this. I had Michelle Beadle on my podcast a couple days ago. I said this. Hot seat. If Tibbs don't win this series, he's fired. Everybody in New York is saying, no. The Knicks have gone all in 2 years in a row. They don't have a lot of assets to move unless you move one of the main guys, Bridges or obviously OG, because you're probably not going to move Cat. You're definitely not moving Brunson. So you're going to recycle the team, or are you going to get a new coach? I think if the Knicks don't win, I think Tibbs is gone.
Interesting. The news this morning that came out that while game 1 might not be a possibility in the series, Damian Lillard will be back for the Milwaukee Bucks. How much does that alter that series against the Pacers, and who wins it in the wake of this news?
If you're Indiana, you better get this thing over quick. You better hold serve. You better be up 2-0, and you better hold, because to me, Matt, I think you're looking at probably game 3.
Okay.
That's what, because you got to ramp him up. This is another team in Milwaukee that has immense immense pressure. Because if they don't win this series, and ready for this, win this series and then be competitive, remember what Giannis said before this season. He wants to go to the Eastern Conference Finals or he wants to reevaluate his options. If they don't get out of this series, he is gone. And the interesting thing about Indiana is Indiana was so bad the first half of the year. We're like, flame out. They were good for 1 year. And then Halliburton figured out like that he's a really good fucking basketball player again. And they got better. The concern and what's going to be great about this series is there ain't going to be no goddamn defense. I don't know what the over-unders are. Run and take the over. This is going to be, it's going to be up and down, up and down. I think that Indiana wins the series, but the longer this thing hangs around, the more Dame can come by and save it. Because what the thing about people understand is this. Giannis is the best player, but Dame is the closer.
Okay.
Because his ability to make big shots and his ability to get fouled and go to the foul line and knock down free throws at an 85, 90% clip. They brought Dame in to be Robin until it's a minute left, and then he becomes Batman. Right. And that's why they got someone like him.
We'll have you on again, but to answer this question. But if the Knicks beat the Pistons and when the Celtics beat the Magic in probably 4, maximum 5 games, those two will play each other. And it will be a formality, will it not? The Celtics.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's done.
I think the Knicks can take 2 games, and it'll probably be like a 4-2.
Really? Okay.
I think it'll be 4-2. Because here's the thing. I would say is what the other thing is I have Boston beating Orlando in 5 games. Because there's going to be one game where Boston can't hit shit.
Okay.
And there was that game in the early in the year. Matt knows what I'm talking about. 108, 104, where he shot about 25% from the 3-point line. The concern you have with Boston, and what Boston fans can be concerned about is they're so dynamic offensively that I hate when they become one-dimensional and they just bomb away. I know it's the new NBA, but Orlando's tough. They defend the 3-point line as good as anyone, and I think they steal a game. I think the best play to play that series is go 4-1 Boston over Orlando.
Fair. I like that. All right, let's go to the Western Conference because everyone's betting this like it's already over. The T-Wolves have no shot according to the betting market. It's all Laker money.
They're winning it. They're winning it. I'll tell you now.
T-Wolves are beating the Lakers.
Yes. 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 And you, as a Celtic fan, wearing your Celtic green, I don't know if you're Dan Aykroyd or Daniel Stern. That's Celtic pride. The BBB brigade that don't know the damn movie. Do your history lesson.
18.
To me, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to come down to Randall. And I want people to understand this. This is different now. I think Julius, even New York, thought that he was 1A and 1B to Brunson. He knows he ain't number 1 in Minnesota. The best player is Ant, and he ain't even close.
Yeah.
I also think him being in Minnesota away from the spotlight is actually going to be better for him. I think he relaxes and plays. I think Ant has got a bad taste in his mouth to losing to Luka last year in the playoffs. I think Ant is like plus 185 to lead the series in scoring. I think he will. I think he's going to go. I don't care what anybody says. There's no one on the Lakers that can stop him. I can't. I mean, Austin Reeves, that's probably your best option. What do they say? What do they call it, guys? Barbecue chicken? Yeah. Minnesota chicken, LA chicken, without the Ozempic. I think he's the best player in the series. That's a spicy thing too. And I think if you are JJ Redick, you have an interesting dilemma with the center position. Do you rather have Rudy on the floor and then you go more Jackson Hayes and Alex Len? Or do you go small ball and try and play Rui as a 5? I'm going to say this, and I know this may sound crazy. If I'm JJ Redick, I'm playing those 2 bigs. Because if you go with Rui, they're better with Naz Reid on the floor. And Naz Reid will kick his ass the whole fucking series.
Wow.
So to me, I like, if you want to just go plus 1.5 games, fine. But on the money line, a little sprinkle.
I think they got a shot.
Upset.
Okay.
I think they got a shot.
Will's having a field day right now, keeping track of you in the chat. He said, "See who gets their commercial cut tomorrow." So keep doing what you're doing, JY.
Oh, Will, cut your Will. I got a bottle of scotch for you when you're ready. So fuck these two guys.
All right, hold on. Another series in the West that everybody's betting one way is the Clippers in Denver. And I haven't found them yet. We'll find out by the time we get to Saturday. Anyone that says, you know what, Denver's going to win that series. I literally haven't found anybody. The betting market hasn't found anybody. Do they win game one, let alone the series? Denver, what do you think?
I think the best bet I have is I think this is going 7.
Okay.
I think this is going 7. This is going to be such a tight series. And you can't discount what Nikola Jokic is going to do. But we must give respect, and shout out to Michelle Beadle for saying this when I had her on. The real most improved player in the league should be Ibaka Zubac. They're not going to give it to him. They're going to give it to Cade because this is like the precursor to be the MVP, like the super star. Ibaka Zubac is like, what, like 18 and 13 a game? Ibaka Zubac. I am Ibaka Zubac. I can barely walk and talk. Like this guy is pretty fucking good. Thank you very much. I tried that in the mirror before I came on air. But I think this is a close series. I still want to believe in Denver because I think having the 4 seed is something. I also think there's this. There is the James Harden Game 7 syndrome.
Oh, boy.
Where he hasn't scored, I think, what does it matter? I think not more than 21 points in a Game 7 in his career.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So to me,
don't get there.
I think it's going 7, that it's probably going to be Denver because until James Harden gives me a great Game 7 performance, you got to go against him because his teams never win those spots.
I got a plus 135 on the Clippers, so I'll look to hopefully Clippers go up at some point 2 games to 1 or something in the series, and then I can come back and take Denver at plus and just sit back and go plus on that. Okay, this is the series I'm having the most difficult time predicting and betting. The Warriors are the 7 seed, but obviously no one cares. They're big favorites. They're laying 160, 170 up against the Rockets. The Rockets are young. I love Ime. I love Udoka. Fred VanVleet's got the pedigree. Obviously, he can tell the kids what it means to go up against the Warriors. But Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler, and what he does in the postseason, we saw in the game 2 days ago. Playoff Jimmy's a real damn thing.
Oh, yeah.
Can the Rockets win this series?
It's going to be close. I think this one's going 7 as well. I think Houston is getting. Now, think about this, Matt. It has moved. Like the Warriors were bigger favorites yesterday than they are today. So there's more money, and Dave would know this better than me. More money's coming in on Houston now in this series because it's starting to trickle down. I thought at one point they were like minus 230, minus 240. It's come down little by little.
Minus 180, minus 175 is pretty much the universal number.
But it was
the books had to find a reason though to go get the Rockets money because despite what you're going to say and them having a shot, the perception since Jimmy got to Golden State is that they're back, baby. I mean, they're the second choice at some books, JY, to win the West.
And it's wild when you look at the NBA when it's until you do it in the playoffs, they're going to bake that into the number.
Yep.
Right? And all the experience says Golden State. But you're right. Fred VanVleet has been a champion. Right? Ime Udoka has coached in big games and big situations. And there's no guy, he may be one of the best coaches that's saying, I don't think we're going to fucking win.
No, right.
We got no shot.
Absolutely.
So let's just go out here and mess this whole thing up. And I think, they don't shoot the ball great from the perimeter. And another reason why I think they're getting so disrespected is if you look at all the teams in the playoffs that we think can make a run, right? Let's include Houston. They're the only team without a superstar or even a star. They're a big sum of the parts team. I know Cleveland's a big sum of the parts team as well, but Donovan Mitchell's a superstar.
Right.
We don't think we have that, but I think they do. I think Alphonso Good is really fucking good, a.k.a. Baby Joker. I want to see how they let Draymond defend him. If they let Draymond beat him up, muscle him up, move him off a spot, then obviously it's going to keep favoring Golden State. But this guy has an ability to score 3 levels. He's probably the 3rd best passing big man. I would probably put obviously Joker and maybe Sabonis ahead of him, right, in order to see the floor. So you can bring him into the high post. They have athletic guys. They have guys off the bench. I love Tari Eason, Cam Whitmore, but they're young. I think Golden State wins it, but I think it's going 6 or 7. I'm going to play. I think it's over 5.5 games. I'm going over. I think the Rockets are going to give this team a series, and then the real fun begins because then now we start with like, okay, they're 1 player away. Who does Houston try to go get in the offseason with all those young guys? Do you try and go get Durant is the obvious name, right? Ready? Let's say Giannis wants out.
Right.
Try and go get Giannis.
Wow.
Right? Do you find a team that's gonna blow it up and then go get that player, that piece from that team that's gonna break up, right? I'm not gonna say Ja, but I would be looking at someone that could be like a wing scorer. I think. I'll give you one more. Speaking of Phoenix, like Phoenix is in such the biggest conundrum, and I want to say this, and I'm sorry to go off topic. People have to realize they're going to have their 4th coach in 4 years. At what point do they not look at the coaches, look at the roster, but look at James Jones and Matt Ishbia, who spend like a fucking drunken sailor, like he's George Steinbrenner in the 80s. I'll go get this guy. I'll go get this guy. Forget about culture. Forget about fit. Everybody knew that Bradley Beal can't play with Devin Booker. They're the same fucking player. They need a point guard. So they were better with Tyus Jones at the point, right? And then you see all the fighting. They have no draft capital left. They burned it all. They're done for like 10 fucking years.
It's true.
Ready? Unless they move Devin Booker.
Oh my, really?
They're gonna have to make some serious decisions. They can't move Beal. I mean, Beal is better off playing with the Shanghai Sharks next year. Or what's the other one? The Beijing Ducks. And that's not a knock towards Bradley. I mean, and Bradley Beal's a hell of a player. I love Bradley Beal. It just doesn't fit there.
Doesn't work, yeah.
So Durant's going to ask out. The question is, does Devin Booker ask out?
I think where we are in the league right now, if the Lakers were to get bounced, hypothetically, right? How much does that justify the trade? Does that give Nico Harrison some more leverage to stand on? I mean, he had that ridiculous press conference where you couldn't tape it. You went in there and all the transcripts coming out of it make him sound like a guy who's just lost.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the tree in the forest. If no one sees it, like, did it make a sound? Like,
right.
If there's a press conference and you select the media and there's no audio recording and no video, did it really happen?
It's fair. Was it actually on the record? Yeah. He didn't deny it. Of course, right. Because it's through the lens of somebody else now, and you can blame the person writing or the person talking and say, well, you're making that up. I never said that. That's not what I meant. That's your interpretation, which is brilliant by Nico Harrison because he's right now the #1 villain in all of sports. I mean, the guy needs bodyguards when he's walking around Dallas right now because of what he has done. But if they make a run or if the Lakers lose in the first round, does that give Dallas any more credibility to say, hey, that's why we did it?
No. Number one, the fact I talked about this yesterday on Sports Group with Pharrell, like, how the fuck did they make that trade and not get Austin Reeves in it? Like, that's the point. I still don't like.
Right.
Oh, he's white. He must suck. We don't want him. Like, what are we doing, Nico Harrison? Right. So to me, no, because at the end of the day, the way I said it about this is the only way Dallas won the trade is that they won it immediately. like
Okay.
year one, win a championship, go deeper than the Lakers. Because year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way next 10, 12 years, it's going to be Luka, right? Because Luka's in LA. It's a city of a franchise that's always had superstars, and it's going to be a passing of the torch. And at some point, I love him to death. AD is going to get hurt, and he's going to have a game when he's going to play 25 games again.
Yep.
Last question for me, sir. Next Thursday is the NFL draft. There will be NBA basketball playoff games on. Which one are you watching?
That's not even.
Dude, I'm a fucking Jets fan. I already know how it's going to go. What am I going to watch the draft? What the trying to pick in the NFL draft, and New York Jets like
Debacle.
I don't know. You got Aaron Rodgers going on McAfee today.
Calling you a debacle.
Calling my friends a debacle. No shit. I don't know this already. Of course you're a debacle.
Justin Fields, though. You got Justin Fields. Aren't you excited about that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's the best quarterbacks in two. Chad Pennington?
Oh my!
I mean, Sheriff, listen. I know your daughter's throwing underhand with softball. I would trust them to throw a pass more than some of the guys the Jets have had so far. So
the middle one can actually throw the football.
He's pretty good.
Listen. Tell Aaron Glenn try out.
Oh boy, we'll get you out of here on this. In terms of injuries and injury management, Ja didn't practice today, by the way, so that's not good for Memphis tomorrow night because that twisting of his ankle looked pretty serious. But if you were the Celtics, would you play Jaylen Brown in the first round, knowing the knee had 2 injections in it already?
You gotta, Matt. I think you should be able to get by this series without him.
Agreed. He wants to play,
but you gotta find a way to keep him in game. I would say this. I would see if there's a way I can manage the minutes. Okay. Which means if I could try and find a way to play him 25 to 30 minutes, I would go for it. Let him start the game. Let him play through the first quarter. Sit him as much as you can in the second, because you know what happens. You sit, it swells up, it tightens up. Let him warm up for halftime. Repeat the process in the third quarter. Hope that you got a big lead, and then you don't need him in the fourth. And then if you don't, and it's tight, then you got the last 5 or so minutes. But by the way, I mean, listen, listen, with Tatum, right? With old man Horford, with Porzingis, with Drew, with Derek White, and with my favorite name now of all time, Prince better get my money. I just want to say Prince want to get my money. I was talking to Adam Kaufman.
It's coming, right? I mean, he's
coming.
6th man of the year. He's going to get a big raise.
It's coming. And listen, I hate the Celtics. I hate the Celtics more than I can breathe than anything in the world.
Okay.
I told Adam Kaufman, I'm like, bro, I need that fucking t-shirt. I need the Prince brother get my money. You will see JY. I will say this, ready? If the Boston Celtics win the NBA championship, I will come on BBB with a Prince better have my money t-shirt on.
I'll buy it for you.
Get 2.
I'll wear it. I'll buy it for it and send it to you so you can
100%.
have it. I'll buy it for you because I gotta change 18 to 19. So
Oh,
I gotta go do some stuff. I gotta go up to 19.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a Knick fan. I'm a Ranger fan. I mean, I don't like the Rangers because they want to have 2 blacks on the team, right? Knicks, Jets, Knicks, right? My teams, right? I've had 2, 4, 5, I think 6 titles that they've had in the history of all those franchises.
Yeah.
Iconic franchises. Well, maybe not the Jets and the Mets, but at least the Knicks and the Rangers.
Right, exactly, yes.
And I got 2 in my lifetime. I got 86, which I think Bill Buckner, God bless his soul, I think he threw the game. He got to that one.
Maybe.
Okay. And then the other one was the Rangers in the Stanley Cup when I couldn't even name any other guy but Brian Leach, Mark Messier, and
there you go.
And
Mike Richter.
There
you
I
go.
couldn't name anybody else.
You're a hockey guy. Look at you.
Look at that.
Wait. Adam Graves, Ty
Yes.
The guy who used to play with the Blackhawks. Steve Larmer.
Whoa. Wow. Look at you.
Asatikinen. He played that team.
Wow. My God.
Craig McTavish.
Dang.
Googled it. You got it on a screen in front of you.
No, I don't have it on the screen, but I did watch a little bit of hockey. That's why I was like, let me talk other sports.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
always do
I like
that
it.
here.
I like it that I'm
always do that here.
down with that. But
We
you
love
know, I have 13, so enjoy.
Fuck you.
Nobody
Enjoy. He's JY, Coach James Young. Catch him on Sports Grid.
See you next week.
JY. Great to see you joining us here on the Boston versus the Book. Always great to get him on the program talking everything NBA. But he's like more than that, obviously, right? Look at that, showing off.
Yeah,
So he's got more guns there. He can
I say he's got all kind of tools.
pull
in
the trigger on.
toolbox. You know, he's
Yeah.
got more than just a driver and a putter.
Yeah,
You know,
look at
that's
that.
and they then let him talk about the
Good
NBA stuff. Show off all your other clubs. Hit a nice 5-iron.
Yeah.
Talk a little Jets.
Little 7-iron like Rory, little fade 7 around the tree
A little bit.
on a 5-iron
Shot that
on
was.
the par 5 for Rory on that.
God, that was
Okay,
a-
we've done legal, we've done NBA.
Mhm.
Let's talk hockey.
Let's do it.
NHL playoffs begin this weekend. Montreal in. They win last night 4-2. That was pretty much an easy bet, easy cash for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have it set. Let's get to these series and talk about each one. Ottawa and Toronto. Big favorite for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
Spreads 1.5 games. Ottawa hanging around and making this a series, or is it going to be Toronto quick in this one?
First thought is Toronto wins, but somebody's getting a flesh of blood taken out of this one. Like the pound of flesh, whatever that they're going to be beat up.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be. Got to see how Kachuk is, but Toronto's got to go. Man, we got the 1 seed. We don't have to play Tampa or Florida. We got
Right.
Ottawa. You know, with the country's pride at stake.
Right, because I mean, this is all about
I
Canada
mean-
winning the cup, right? So it is kind of annoying that in the first round you're taking one out. One of the teams that is from Canada goes out because they're playing each other.
Nothing personal, Canada.
Right.
Just the way it worked out. But that bet is actually live. No, like the
Oh yeah,
U.S.
Ottawa?
versus Canada.
oh yeah.
winning
That
the
bet's
cup.
live.
I
Sure.
mean, they got more teams in it this year than ever before.
Yeah.
Right?
So
It's been a long time since all these teams were in it.
there's your bracket. So you're looking for Canadian teams, obviously Toronto, Ottawa, top right hand corner there, and then you've got Edmonton in, and then Winnipeg in. So those are your hopes. There's 4 of them. Those
Well,
are your hopes.
Montreal.
5. Montreal too. 5.
Yeah.
So you get 5 teams potentially, but they're all, except for Toronto, they're all dogs. they're all expected to be out pretty fast.
Well, no, Winnipeg's the.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Winnipeg's favorite. So
No.
yeah. Oh, give me Ottawa in 6. Leaf falling in the spring again.
That's a Boston Bruin guy. Randall's
it
a
is.
Bruin guy.
Of course he is.
Put it in the chat, hockey heads. Who wins the series and how many?
Come on, Toronto in 5.
I think it's Toronto in 6 or 7.
Okay.
I think
like
it goes at least that.
The game that I think goes 7, the series that's going 7 is, I think this is an absolute war. Got to make someone favored, I guess, but oh my. Florida and Tampa. This is fun in the opening round. There's a couple of really fun ones. This is right up there with a really fun series.
It's I don't want to say the winner of this series has no shot to win the cup, but the level of pain that they're going to have to go through to win this series is going to be perfect for the Maple Leafs to actually beat them. Like this might be the year, the way it's set up for the Maple Leafs to get to the conference finals. This is a complete toss-up to me. I don't know the health of Matthew Tkachuk. I guess we'll see. Them getting Marchand makes it interesting to the point where, like, this guy's been there. They needed something to maybe help rejuvenate the run that they had last year. First off for me, though, is Tampa.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
You?
I'll take Florida, but this is
Okay.
going to be talking about guys leaving body parts behind. This is all. I mean, the referees are going to make their money in this series.
Can't wait.
Violence.
Every game's going to be good.
Yeah, violence is coming in this
We
series.
might have, despite the fact that the goalies are really good, I think overs This might
Really?
be a series. Yeah, this might be a series. Yeah, because
Power plays?
I think there's going to be penalties.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that both teams would, rather play a 4-3 type game, but I think there's going to be more opportunities to score in this series than maybe years past.
I can't wait to watch this. This is going to be awesome. I mean, this is going to be just an absolute war between these two teams in Florida going after against each other. And man, Florida might get bounced in the first round. Defending champs doesn't even get out of the first round. Wow. I mean,
Again, it's one of those situations where the rounds that's Florida's played a lot of hockey in the past 3 years and they're not used to it. You saw it this year and they're playing the season. I don't know, Ross, that does catch up. It caught up to Tampa in the same way. And now you get it where it's on the other foot. They may be waiting for him. I mean, they may be able to get him like that.
I like Florida. Any shot Montreal pulls a crazy upset and knocks out the Capitals? No, right? Do they even win a game?
Everybody, yeah, they win a game.
Okay.
They're winning game 3.
Okay. Bell Center will be pumping.
They're winning game 3.
Yeah,
I'm already singing ole, ole, ole. I mean, that
Hard
last
place to
time they were
play.
in the playoffs was 2021, COVID year. They got to the Stanley Cup. Addison, our wrench here, says he thinks the Habs have a chance to win the series. It will be an unbelievable story if they do. I just think it might be too much too soon. But that too much too soon may be exactly what they need, right?
This kid's got Montreal buzzing. Everyone thinks this kid's going to be the next big thing out of Montreal.
I mean, Washington's not the biggest series price of all the series.
Right. Because I think it's the Bell Center. I think the reason why it's not is because of the Bell Center. I mean, that's the Bruins have seen this. Like Washington doesn't. I got to go back. When was the last time that Washington played Montreal in the playoffs? Had to have been a while ago, right?
Had to be.
If they ever have before. So like playing in Montreal during the playoffs is a different animal. If you don't have a lot of experience doing it, walking into that building, I'm with you in game 3. It can be a buzzsaw. Like you could just be like, where are we right now?
Yeah.
Like this is not normal for us to be up against this type of team at this, in this building that's going to be at full throat the whole game.
All that. I mean, that's great for us to talk about. It doesn't really matter as far as the number. It's just a matter of, do they have enough goaltending and will they score enough goals? Blue, Blanc, and Rouge, though, are going to win game 3. I already got it. There. JC from KC, he said it. Blue, Blanc, and Rouge. Cannot wait. Love when Montreal's good. I think it's better for hockey when Montreal's good.
I'm so not interested in this series.
This is the series with the least amount of interest.
This is like, who gives a fuck?
Say it with your chest so Will don't miss it.
Sorry, Will.
You faded out when you said that.
That's the only way that I feel about this series. Is I'm just like, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I don't think the Devils have much of a shot without. I mean, no Hughes. No, they're not playing out the string.
Right.
But this is why the bad guys bet Carolina. The path for Carolina says that they're going to beat the Devils kind of not easily and advance to the next round and then have a real good shot at winning that, and then they'll lose in the conference final. I
mean, do you want to say, have you gone and started? Because I'm getting it from people. What's Dave's exactas? I'm like, I don't know. Ask Dave.
You know what I was looking at this morning?
Okay.
I was looking more at the NBA exactas.
Okay.
Because it just right now, I feel like I have a stronger opinion about the first round of the basketball than I do the NHL, except this series.
Okay.
I think Carolina's winning this series. I don't give the Devils much of a shot at all. This price is right, and that's the highest price of all the prices.
To the West we go, where the Blues were the hottest team in hockey, and then they cooled off. Can they give the Jets a series?
Oh,
because nobody wanted to play St. Louis, and then they lost 3 in a row, and it's like, oh, maybe we do want to play St. Louis.
I know. I don't know. Like, why all of a sudden did they just go, all right, well, the Jets are going to win? I don't think it's going to be as easy as they're making it. I think St. Louis extends this series and has a shot at winning.
Goaltending. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to goaltending. If St. Louis gets the goaltending they got over the last 2 months of the season, yeah. If I'm the Jets, I'm like, son of a whom? Really? Got to play this guy?
He's won a cup.
Mm-hmm.
He won the Four Nations.
Mm-hmm.
Can't beat Winnipeg in the first round.
Could. Absolutely could.
The
whole West. I think every series in the West is intriguing.
I can't wait to hear why you think Dallas and Colorado is intriguing, because Dallas is completely toast.
You think they're completely toast?
7 in a row.
I know, but they can't just. It's end of the year.
I don't think so. I don't think.
So what? DeBoer lost the team entirely?
I'm telling you, these NBA coaches got fired the week before.
Right.
You watching Dallas play, I would have said, like, something's got to be done here. Nobody's listening. This is going bad. I don't know. Now, I mean, they lost at home to, or was it? No, they were on the road to Nashville.
I already knew they were in, though. I mean,
I know, but you got
7 games ago, they were the odds-on favorite to win the cup.
They still are.
So you think this is done and dusted? Dallas is out. See you later.
Colorado is minus 170 to win the series.
I had 152. Who has 170?
That's what it is now.
It's been bet down, right?
No, Colorado was minus 170, minus 165, 165.
FanDuel's at 152 as of 2 hours ago. It's 152.
Well, they're the lowest price in the market.
Okay.
Wow. Boys that are watching hockey out here have Colorado favored. I can't believe they're plus 150 to win the series. They're plus $6-7 to win the cup. Something doesn't jive.
Well, I'm going to be betting them on to win the series. I'm going to roll it over with them is how I'm going to approach it, because I took them on their points. I never bet in season and never took them to win the cup. I never bet it. So I said, all right, so let's take it and let's roll it over. Let's go series by series with this. Take Dallas at the plus here to win this series to beat Colorado. And then we'll roll it over into the next series and just keep it rolling until we see what they are going to get to. Because right now there's no value with taking the Dallas Stars right now. Earlier in the year there was, but not right now. I don't know. I think Dallas wins the series.
I hope it's a good series.
I think DeBoer figures it out. I think DeBoer gets back on the guys, and it's a reset.
Does he stop the puck? They're giving up goals all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Vegas and the Wild. Fleury. Fleury, his last series. It's it.
It'd be fun to see him.
Marc-Andre Fleury. It's it. Against his own team.
It'll be fun to see him here one last time. Try to get in the building one night. We'll see if I can do it. I don't think the Wild have a shot in hell.
I don't either.
I don't think so.
But it's interesting. The intrigue comes from Fleury. Like, how much does he play? What does he look like? Can he, dial the hands of time back, stand on his head for a couple of games, steal one against Vegas? Power play for Vegas is just deadly.
Things are clicking again.
100%.
Things are clicking again.
100%. I mean, if Vegas wins the cup again, I'm not going to be surprised. Like, I'm not going to be like, where'd that come from? Like, this team is good enough to win the cup. And
if healthy, they are.
And what I love about Bruce Cassidy too is that, like, the first time people, at least back in New England, people were like, I got lucky, one run. Does it again? Cassidy does it again. Like, it really highlights the mistake the Boston Bruins have made, the mistakes, plural, they have made over the last 5 seasons that put them into the position that they were in this year, where everything fell apart because firing coaches, firing Cassidy, and everything else that went into what the Bruins have done. Him winning 2 cups, that would be awesome. Yeah. I would love to see it. Love to see Vegas do it again. And then finally, like, what do you make of this series? The Oilers and the Kings. Kings have home ice. We taking the Kings?
Can't believe the series price.
Oilers favored without home ice against the number 1 home ice team in hockey.
Series price tells me that it's a split
Okay.
in LA, which is hard to believe because the Kings don't really lose at home.
They haven't. 5 games.
So
Kings in 5. Holy crap, Ross. Really? That fast?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm with you, Addison. I can't bet the Oilers either. Not with the Kings at home. No.
I think the other thing that the series price is telling me, and again, without being in the room and seeing someone shoot one across the ticker,
Mm-hmm.
the Oilers are live in game 1. That was going to be my follow-up question to this, is that if you go through the games, Carolina should, win game 1 at home. Washington should win game 1 at home. Toronto should win game 1 at home. Florida and Tampa's a toss-up. This one here's a toss-up, Edmonton and LA, but Colorado's in Dallas. So that's another road team I think has a shot. Winnipeg should win at home and Vegas should win at home. This one here, I think the Kings win game 1, leaving Edmonton very live to win game 2. You think Edmonton wins game 1 or game 2 if they win a game in LA?
Well, the road team always has the best shot in game 1. So series starts before you get into the series, get your sea legs, if you will. So I would say game 1.
These two teams are so familiar with each other, especially in the playoffs, right? I mean, you literally set your spring clock by it, like daylight savings time. Kings and Oilers playing the first round of the playoffs. I think the Kings win it. I do. I'm down on Edmonton. I could be wrong. I think I think Edmonton is going to have a tough time over the course of a series. There might be one game where Edmonton lights them up 7-2, something like that.
So unlike the NBA, if you go and look at where the books have these numbers, the Kings are 16-1 to win the cup.
Yep.
Carolina is plus 650 to win the cup.
Right.
You have 11 teams listed between Carolina and the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Between plus 650 and 16-1. Is there any real value in any of these teams? This is as bungled and bunched together as I've seen an odds board that's going into the playoffs. This looks like the odds board going into the season.
Right.
Not the odds boards going into the playoffs. Normally, there's a couple of teams that separate themselves, and you say, all right, those are the 2 best teams in hockey or 2 best teams in basketball. We expect them to make a run. I mean, any one of these teams, we'd be that surprised if the Oilers at plus 950 or the Jets at 10-1 wind up in the cup final?
I'd be surprised by nothing.
Right?
I would be surprised by nothing.
So really doing exactly this is kind of dangerous, is it not? It's hard to get involved.
Huge volatility right now.
Yeah.
Huge volatility in it. And that's why I legit was looking at the NBA. I felt like it was more
easier,
predictive market. Yep. Just I want to start using that word. If I'm going to get a job with them or get a job with the NFL to be that guy,
there you go.
Use all the right words.
There you go.
Yeah.
Predictive market.
Yeah. But I don't know. Again, I'm biased. I've been saying it since I've been a little kid. Say it now. We got the forum. We got the mics. We got the show. The hockey playoffs are sorry, Will, I haven't said anything yet today. The hockey playoffs are the fucking best. They're the best.
Well, this right now tells you, normally it is anyway, just because of the intensity, but the fact that we are this bungled and bunched together, the fact that we're going to have this be determined by goaltending, like this is whose goaltender is going to stand on his head and when. That's what's going to determine this series or all of the series.
Unlike a lot of other sports, when the playoffs get to the playoffs in hockey, the refs go away. Very rarely is there
unless it's San Jose and Vegas, then they don't. But yeah,
well, that was a while ago, but that was a bad call. But they let the players decide it most of the time, and your power play opportunities shrink, and the importance of your goaltender. A hot goalie can win for anybody.
It's crazy.
8 seeds have won the cup. 8 seeds have won the cup.
It's awesome. there's not much here, but we're going to do it just for posterity's sake because I made the mistake. This game's almost over, but we'll do it anyway and talk about it because it's maybe a live betting opportunity. Bet it or book it. A's and the White Sox. I bet under 8.
Okay.
Game is currently 5-0 in the top of the 8th. 5.5 is our live total at the moment. 5-0 A's. They've hit 3 solo home runs. I've been very lucky. This game very easily could be much more explosive, but the White Sox are not scoring. The A's hit a bunch of solo shots. Do we get any more runs in this game in your mind? It's 5.5 and a 5-0 game going to the bottom of the 8th in Chicago, where it's currently 47 degrees.
Well, you better, if you're going to bet under 5.5, you better do it right now because they take it down as soon as it gets to the middle of the 8th.
It's plus 102.
Under 5.5 plus 105 here.
Yeah.
I love betting that nothing will happen in the 9th inning.
Oh, okay. Make it easy.
That's a bet usually like available too at different books.
Right.
Whether a run scored yes or no in the 9th. I got to see who's hitting. I mean, if it's 7, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, something like that, yes, I would be saying under.
And I don't normally bet parlay. I mean, pitcher props,
right?
But I decided to dabble in it today.
Okay.
So I bet over 5.5 strikeouts for Christopher Sanchez because the Giants are the number 3 leading team on the road. He struck out the side in the first inning.
His number was 3.5.
His number was 5.5. But
he struck out 3 already?
He got 3 in the first inning.
Nothing wrong with that.
So we're good there. And then I bet under for St. Louis for the Palenti kid, under 4.5 strikeouts against the Mets. The Mets are the number 1 home team to only striking out 5.6 times per game at home right now for the Mets. So I got that later if you want something else to come in on that. Ooh. But I don't normally do pitcher props. This is kind of a dead day to bet on sports. There wasn't much going on today.
You can't really bet the hockey.
No, last day of the regular season? No way.
Yeah, there's not much on that board today, boys, that you should be betting.
And it's getaway day for baseball. So you've got a lot of games currently underway, or there will be underway here pretty quickly.
Pirates under.
1-0 win for the Pirates. Seattle won 11-7 in 11 today. Arizona won 6-4 over the Marlins today. It's 5-0 A's over the White Sox, 1-0, for the Giants against the Phillies as we go to the bottom of the first. Then later tonight, you've got, New York and Tampa, which is okay. Tigers, Royals, which isn't bad. Cleveland and Baltimore, and then Tigers, Angels, and that's about it. That's your board. No NBA. Just not a lot of stuff going on. Cleveland
live against Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree with that.
I say Cleveland is a bet. KC going to Detroit. Sorry, JC from KC.
Yeah, Lorenzen.
Detroit right there. Yeah, and then Angels and Rangers, I got to do the work, but I think first thought there was Angels, but I'll dive into the pitchers a little bit more. Over in that game, most likely.
Favorite thing about today is what? You did the whole show in one.
I feel like we went to law school today. That was pretty good. Like, we've been talking about this stuff, and there's people watching the show in places that we don't know about, but we do. And we appreciate you guys watching the show.
Yes,
hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Cut clips for us. We appreciate that as well. I mean, that's happened, and put us on other things. It's good. But yeah, my favorite thing about today was the wide range of the show that we showed today. A lawyer in DC and JY in New Jersey talking about the law, the business, basketball, hockey. Pretty good show.
I would agree. I think today was a lot of fun, and yes, the diversity of the show is definitely a really, really fun thing. And I think the Cauchy story, I mean, one, really talking to Andrew was really fun because he's obviously incredibly smart, but he was really charismatic. I really enjoyed the interview. I thought the guy was funny. he got it rolling.
He got the show.
Yeah.
That was pretty good first time performance. I want to personally thank him for watching. We'll send him an email again and say thank you. That was good.
Coming to have that. So, guys, tomorrow is our last show for a couple of weeks. Okay, so Dave's going away to New Jersey to go and watch his daughter's last games in college. So he's going to be running around on the East Coast. So we just said, forget it. It's just too difficult to try to find ways to do the show. He gets to clear his schedule out and just spend time with his daughters. I was already going out of the country, so I'm going on vacation the next week. So that's why the show's not happening then for that. So I know for someone like Addison, who was angry at us all last year for doing content for the Derby, there won't be a countdown to the Derby this year like there was last year. So just FYI. However, my gut tells me we're probably going to be talking during the week from me in Jamaica about the Derby. So like we'll probably have a Spaces or something going into the Derby. So you guys will have content from us for the Kentucky Derby. So just FYI on that. We're not going to forget about that. We're going to do it just maybe in a different forum than what you will see us do for that for the next 2 weeks. So if you aren't following at Boston versus the Book, please go and do that. That is where we will host those shows for us on Spaces as we get into the next week. But tomorrow, a very special Roll Call Friday. Hope to see you all tomorrow as we get into it. We'll shout you out, give you a heads up, give you where we're going. We're going to dab the map tomorrow. Let's do as many states as possible on a Roll Call Friday before a little siesta, a little break for us on BVB. He's Dave. I am Matt. Thanks to our guests, Andrew Kim and Coach James Young. You both were tremendous today. Back tomorrow for a Roll Call Friday for the Bostonian versus the Book.